Hello, friend, and welcome to the Folktailer, a humble place where I stitch and tell you stories. Short winter tales for long winter nights, Crone edition, in which we meet 13 holy hags from European folklore traditions. Welcome to the winter storytelling series, Short Winter Tales for Long Winter Nights, Crone edition, episode 1. Tonight we meet the crone Perchta. The 12 days of Christmas are the sacred reign of Perchta, a magnificent figure of Germanic folklore. In Germany, the 12th night, or 5th of January, is named especially for her, Perchtennacht, or Perchta's night. Traditionally, women are forbidden to spin or weave on this day. The complexities of Perchta are so manifold that I will devote an entire podcast to her later this month. There are so many themes, customs, and lore surrounding her. It's really hard to sum it up in a short introduction. So, in keeping with the spirit of short winter tales for long winter nights, here is a very short tale about Perchta, retold from the Austrian tradition. Perchta and the Prying Farmhand. 12th night had arrived, and this year, as every year, the good farmer's wife and all of her household busily prepared to host their honored guest, Perchta. The tools of industry were laid down this day, and the only work centered on preparations for Perchtennacht. The house was cleaned and tidied, and all tasks were finished and put away. All of the flax had been spun, and the gleaming spools of thread awaited January's weaving time. The spindles and distaffs were clean, mended, and oiled. They would certainly meet the approval of Perchta's discerning eye. The house, too, stood ready for inspection. The farmer's wife was mindful that only the traditional foods were consumed that day. All that was left to do was put the crucial customary offering of Perchtenmilch on the newly laid table of pressed linen. Perchta and her train of unbaptized child souls would certainly be stopping by to partake during their nocturnal procession, sometimes called the Wild Hunt. In return, Perchta would bestow health, prosperity, and blessings on the house and household for the coming year. Even the cattle would be blessed when they drank the leftover Perchtenmilch the next morning. So what made this year story-worthy? A curious farmhand had decided to hide in the best room to spy on Perchta. Now, he ought to have known better, for everyone knows that Perchta does not like to be observed. All precautions were taken to be absent during her annual home inspection. But this young farmhand could not shake the desire to be the only one to know what Perchta looked like. So he hid in the great stove, the cheek, and peeped out through a little hole into the broom. But do you think Perchta could be fooled that easily? Upon entering the room, Perchta asked one of the children attending her to stop up the hole. The farmhand was left to await her departure in total blackness. So, having discovered nothing about Perchta's appearance, or otherwise, he lumbered out of the stove after she left, only to realize the pitch blackness would not leave his vision. All comes right in the end, however. Stick with me here. The lad took the counsel of a very old hermit with a memory far-reaching. He knew the old ways, and he advised the farmhand how to regain his sight. He took up the same position in the stove precisely 1 year later on the following Perchta Nacht. Returning to the farmhouse, Perchta instructed the same child who had stopped up the hole in the stove last year to unstop it, whereupon the lad regained his sight and a healthy dose of common sense. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where we'll meet our next wise crone. Thanks so much for coming by.